However, I have been a musician since I was 9.5, and at some point in my life, I started receiving music, which astounded me. I would hear it, and then I would actually try and play it on the guitar or piano, which I'm not a virtuoso on either of those instruments. And then I would do my best to try and sing it or whatever I heard. And I would say over the years of receiving songs, I realized that the songs that I thought were the best ones, or that would resonate with people in the best way, were often the ones I had very little to do with. They just kind of came in. You wrote them in 15 minutes or something like that, you know. So I would say Al was talking about this feeling, and I think most people can really feel music. And for many people, music is a form of prayer. And of course, there's prayerful music. There's music that can just bring you right down. And I would say also that great songs are often received or co-written with angels. And then there's everything in between. And then there's really low, people open up to dark spirits, and you get some pretty negative or, you know, kind of violent music, you know, stuff. But spirit influence is there quite often. And you know, if you walk into a place that has like this kind of energy in here, immediately you feel it in your heart. You feel it. And your mind, you tend to lose your mind a little bit. If you walk into a mall, like Shelley and I are talking about, you just get this whole material world, all these thoughts, and you got to buy this stuff, and it's just, wow. It's like being in the middle of a traffic jam, and everybody's driving towards you and past you and around you. So, some of what, if I can say, we try to do is to find a calm place to let our souls be in ascendancy over our minds. Because the mind is informing the soul. And in the celestial heavens, the soul informs the mind. So how do we get there? And it's with a feeling. It could be a song. It could be a prayer. But meditation in the celestial way is to allow the soul to open up to the light and love from above. And since this is a mediumship seminar, is that what we call it? Seminar? Whatever it is. I would assume that many of you have had this experience. I'm fairly new at this kind of thing. Now, I started to receive messages from Yogananda. Paramahansa Yogananda was a guru who grew up in India and was guided to come to the United States, I think it was in the 30s. And he brought his Kriya Yoga and all this stuff. But on my path, I went from being a Catholic to a Sufi to a Hindu, and had lots of gurus and teachers. And often the message was, focus on me. I'm the divine on earth, or, whatever it was. And Yogananda, I realized, he always put the attention on God. He didn't say focus on me. He was actually a great devotee. He'd say, if you have trouble getting quiet to meditate, just talk to God and say, God, let my soul be in your soul. Embrace me. Raise my thoughts. And he said, right away, you've raised your thoughts now above the earth plane, and you've made a connection with the divine. And I loved him for that reason, although I had forgotten about him over the years. So the first message I think I got from him, I think that might be it. Do you have it?
Unfortunately, it's under the camera. Yes.
I think this may be the first message I ever got. And with your permission, I will read it to you. Try not to go on too long. He says, Aloha, dear brother. I am Yogananda, friend of your soul. Earlier today, I made rapport with you while in prayer. You indeed felt my presence at your side. And my wish to communicate a message through you about rituals. But you declined to speak, which is true, aloud on my behalf, deferring to the dear soul and instrument whose home you are visiting. I'm telling Yogananda, talk to Al. I'm not good at this. And that's really how it went. Internally, at the same time, you were telling me that if I were to speak through this other dear soul, this other instrument, you would in future agree to do so on my behalf. So it's kind of a deal like when people say, God, if you just let me live, I promise to do good things. So to your surprise and the complete unknowing of Al, I did speak, although not on the subject you wished me to. That is because, dear brother, it would be better for me to give that message through you, and so I will. At present, let's revisit the internal discussion we had subsequent to the message received earlier today and during the silent prayer time. You were telling me that you did not wish to appear foolish and that you did not have any idea of the technique involved in receiving messages from Spirit. I replied to you, this is Yogananda speaking, it is better to be a fool of God than a king of men. Because I was feeling pretty foolish. So it's like, I'm going to be really stupid. This is going to be ridiculous.
I think that's why we get along so well together. You know, we're a good team. You know?
And you seem to have no trouble relating what I told to you, to your dear friends afterwards. And so now I ask you, that if you thought you came up with all that in your own mind, would you have bothered to tell them? Would you have felt my presence and heard my voice so clearly? I want you to consider something about channeling and mediumship in relationship to your music, dear brother. You know without any doubt that you have at times, as you would clearly state, received music, yes? You have often stated that the better the music and words that come to you are, the less you have had to do with creating them. Yes? Would you not agree that when that happens, you are in fact in a state of prayer, in a place of rapport with musicians in the spirit world, and quite often celestial musicians? I wish to tell you that this is not only true, but in fact you are a co-creator of these musical gems. The simpler is sometimes the better, eh? This is because of your intention is to receive the love of God and to share divine love and the truth of it with others, yes? You have composed symphonic works along these lines and have felt the hands of celestial musicians moving your hands, which is true. I once wrote this kind of symphonic stuff and literally my fingers were being moved, which was just, I couldn't even consider it. I just let it happen. And it, was quite nice. I couldn't play a wrong note either. So let's see, where am I here? Okay, have you not stated this fact to others on occasion, which is true, so please don't feel that I'm trying to embarrass you about this when my wish is to encourage you and to remind you that you have been used as a medium for music many times, even by your own account. The process is much the same when composing music as communicating with me. Although the instrument may be automatic writing instead of a guitar, or me simply speaking through you instead of singing. At the same time, I do not wish to infringe upon your musical composing or your free will. I think you only recently remembered that I love to sing and compose songs. And when I received this message, when he was saying this, I remembered that Yogananda actually did really like to sing. He had this kind of booming voice, and he loved to praise God and sing, and I'd completely forgotten that. So again, you see, we are not so different. We love to sing God's praises. I will come again and deliver more of what I wish to tell, not only my followers on earth, but all of God's children. Till then, my dear soul friend, follow your heart. Know that I am with you often, and pray. Pray for God's love. Pray. I love you all with the love of a brother and a true friend in God, Yogananda.
Wow.
So, I'm not sure how you all feel about that, but I felt guided to read it to you, you know.
Yogananda is a celestial.
Yeah.
So now I think it's